Welcome to Suna Island. Where you can stop and relax. For the rest of your life.
I'm going to guess that you have had a pretty tough 1 or 2 days.
Yes.
Welcome to Adella's Rest.
Thank you.
Where most people, when they're dropped into this island in that violent way they are, they're usually picked up by the prison raiders. We don't know what happens to them. But for those who are fortunate enough to find their way to Adella's Rest, they themselves can find rest in a place they can hopefully call home.
These prison raiders, could you describe them to me?
Misfits, bandits, honestly. We have the best armor that can be provided by our blacksmith, what can be brought into town. They just arm themselves with whatever they can find. They're scavengers, mostly.
And they're not friends of yours?
No, they are, besides the guard that left us here, they're the greatest threat on this island.
And your guards, I'm assuming, protect you from these raiders.
We are the guards.
I kind of conjure.
Yeah.
I'm like, while I'm here, I can help.
We need all of the help we can get. You said you have friends?
I do. I have 2 companions traveling with me.
We will wait here. We'll take the fruit and the fish. We'll keep it for you. Go retrieve your friends and bring them in.
Okay, so I quickly walk back. We are welcomed into Adella's Rest.
So you told them about us?
I told them that you existed. They told me about prison raiders who wander the streets looking for stragglers they can pick off. They're not friends of this village. I told them we can help with security. It should not be a problem anymore.
I wasn't quite ready to trust these people yet, but I guess I'm kind of thrown into it now.
It's not a matter of trust, it's a matter of not getting myself speared when I entered the city.
I'm here to give you crap.
I did.
I'm by myself. Wink, wink. That's all you had to do.
Okay, I'm sorry that I procured for you a place to rest for the evening.
I'm not lying to you.
I don't. However, there are 3 guards in the city with weapons that I saw. You saw everyone in there, trust me. I'm hedging the bet on the fact that we should be able to protect ourselves before they can do anything more permanent. They're a bit more well-equipped than what we saw on the road, but it's not much.
So you want to move in towards the town?
Yeah.
Who's the teenager here?
Yeah. Who's a 14-year-old? Yeah, I guess.
Jeez.
If it ends up being a prison, I'm coming down on your ass, alright?
Look, if it ends up being a prison, I'm coming down on my own ass.
So as you come closer to town, you see that the water runs through it. As you meet up with these 3 guards, they keep their spears up, they nod politely to you, and they introduce themselves as the town militia. They tell you that they are the only thing that keeps the prison raiders at bay and keeping them from destroying everything they have tried to build. You are welcome here. We don't have much food, and we don't have much room, but if you're willing to work, we can provide a home.
Do you have a town leader, someone who makes decisions in the hardest times?
Yes, we have a chosen sheriff, Teclin Fairmeyer.
Is it possible to speak to Lord Teclin?
He's not a lord. No, he's just a sheriff. He's been here for a very long time, far longer than he likes to discuss. But yes, we can take you to him.
I'd like to speak with him as soon as possible.
Of course. as you're walk the rest of the way with these guards, you come walking into town and you see that this place is, again, pretty densely populated. You see a lot of people further from where you're coming in by this bridge, that they're filling these buckets and walking with them back to tents, to some of these buildings. But you are brought through town. You see what looks kind of like, it looks like it might have once been some sort of place of worship, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty badly destroyed.
Can I tell what combination it would be?
Roll a religion check.
I have no idea.
What'd you roll?
4.
4. You look over and there's really like no iconography you can read, but there is in you a fire in the pit of your stomach. When you look at that, you're looking at an injustice.
Who's the talker? Who's been talking?
Mostly has been the human.
What is this place? I'm going to ask him.
This is Adella's Rest.
But what was it? Because those buildings were here a while ago, right?
From what I've been told, that these buildings were here as long as anyone has been here. This might be a conversation better suited for Fairmeyer. He's been here the longest. And this is a smaller building, obviously, compared to the rest. It's not exactly well fortified, but it doesn't seem to be in shambles like you have seen. 2 guards stand posted left to right by this front door. You walk up to him, and the human says something to one of the other guards, and he nods the 3 of you in.
I do turn to my companions and you two. I'm like, I can handle this alone if you two want to go do something else. Well, they invite us in.
That's definitely the feeling.
They don't know us.
That's fair.
It's like, you could go relax, guys. I've got this. The guys are all around us like, no, fuck, you're not.
We're being invited in with a capital I.
As you move in, it's just small, rotted plank door that just one picks up, moves to the side. You walk in, he picks it back up and puts it back down. You see that there is a single desk with a half-elf man who's kind of sitting looking over some paperwork. As you kind of see him in profile, there's a youth to him. He definitely looks young, maybe for a half-elf or maybe for an elf altogether. But when he turns to look to you, there is a look in his eyes that speaks of age. He stands up and he addresses you. So, recent members of the island, huh?
Yeah.
It seemed that way.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you for your consideration.
You're welcome to stay here in Adella's Rest. We have a few rules. Everyone works 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. You eat what you're given, and you don't ask for more. You can ask questions, but don't ask too many. We have about another week before we need to send a group of people. I got 4 slots open.
Send a group of people where?
Back to the castle. What are your names?
It just gets real quiet.
Liars have things to hide. Liars don't last long here. We got gallows. We'll use them.
My name is Theo.
Arn.
Theo, Zale, Arn.
But I'm curious why his attitude is the way that it is. That'd be perception, correct?
That'll be insight.
16.
There's an obvious read that there is an age to him. The way he always looks everyone in the eye, his brow is always furrowed. You have seen this before, and fairly often, from sailors who have suffered greatly at sea. The look of someone who has seen something so life-changingly horrible that he hasn't been the same since.
He has the haunted one background.
He has the haunted one background.
I might be able to help.
You're trying to look for a magical focus or something. I don't think I can help you. Supposed to be some arcane coven over in the swamps. Someone in town here, he's looking to collect books. I think his name is Milo.
With your permission, I'd like to go talk to the blacksmith and see if I can work something out.
You've been through a lot, and I can appreciate that. We got a house that you can stay in. It's public housing. People have been calling it the slump. Stay there. Night's coming soon. Rations are being handed out. Eat it all. Don't waste. Need anything? Ask someone around you. Guards, start hollering. We'll come. Have you any questions for me?
I do, but we can speak later.
I'd rather get it done now.
At your leisure, do you two mind?
Oh, leaving. I was like, no, I don't mind if you ask him questions. I'll leave.
Talk to the blacksmith sale. Tell him what you need. Does everybody leave but him?
Yeah.
Over here.
We could sit outside the door and listen.
We'll just usher the guards over to listen too.
You get out and they're already listening to the door. The two of you leave. You just kind of push on the door and the guy picks the door up. You walk out. He puts the door back down.
Can't be that soundproof.
The two of you want to take off into town, or do you want to sneak up on the building and listen?
Daddy and kind of.
Oh, we're totally want to listen.
Okay.
Is the two of you stop and look at each other and kind of the guards will stop and go, sheriff's business is sheriff's business. Move along.
Okay.
Like car salesman gimmick.
Can I chat him up?
Sure. What do you say?
Where's a good place to get a drink around here?
I'm going to stealth while she does this so I can, listen
Good.
better.
I'm going to use her crashing and burning as a distraction. Go ahead and roll a charisma persuasion check.
Okay.
Hey.
3 plus 4, 7. It's 7. I wink.
As you say this to one of the guys, this guy is just stone faced staring at you. And this other guard walks over and he puts his hand on your shoulder and leans in and goes, "Back off my man, bitch."
Which one's you guys, the elf and the human?
No, these are two other guys. These are two humans. These are like those guys left off the back of their patrol. Yeah. Yeah, so like that glove squeezes tight on your shoulder a little bit more.
Guess
All
what
right.
I rolled on stealth?
What'd you roll?
Nat 20.
A natural 20.
And he's gone.
Nat 20 plus 5.
I'll start walking over towards the blacksmith.
So what did you want to talk about inside the office? Quickly roll me a perception check.
Okay. 10.
So, start off. How big is the population around here?
500 people and growing.
Jesus.
All ages?
All ages. A lot of kids coming up.
I was going to ask you about that. It seems to me that the people who end up on this island are prisoners.
Yep.
Why are there so many children?
What else are you going to do while you're here?
Like,
He's getting the talk from the... Sometimes when a man and a woman...
Look, I don't care for this. I don't care that they're having kids. These are extra mouths that need to be fed. I don't care for that. Kids make mistakes and they get lost. And I have to send guards, valuable guards, out to find them.
and does anyone else in the village besides myself and my companion show any aptitude for magic?
Couple people. They apply it where they can. Nothing worth noting.
Anyone as young as me?
How young are you?
14.
You're in prison now. You ain't young. You ain't a boy. Figure that out quick. Young kids. Using magic. Nothing but fireworks. Just little sparks coming out.
Could you tell me where they are? Because I could help teach and they could provide valuable defense.
I'm not trusting the education of our youth to someone who just walked in my door looking for kids.
That's fair enough. That was not my intent.
Understand?
I just want to be as valuable as I can be while I'm here. I was taught the value of a hard day's work real quickly.
Go apply that. And if we think that the kids have something to learn from you, we'll have you teach them. Till then, I don't want you teaching anyone magic.
That's fair enough. Thank you for your time.
And you leave?
Mm-hmm.
You catch his end of the conversation, which is pretty much, are there any magically inclined people here? Are there magically inclined kids here? I know the value of a hard day's work, that's it.
Okay. I didn't hear the there's not much else to do on this island besides fuck kind of comment. Dreams do come true.
Over at the blacksmiths.
As I'm going, I'm just keep looking around and seeing what people I'm walking past. Just want to see kind of who's here.
You do see there's like I said, there's a good mix of people. You don't see a lot of the shorter races, gnomes and halflings walking around. They're very far and few in between, but they don't seem to be out in the general populace. They're probably tucked up somewhere doing
Crafty thing.
Specific kind of work they do. But as you come over to the blacksmith, you hear the heavy hitting of that hammer against an anvil, and when you kind of peer in, you see that there is a red dragonborn sitting at a small makeshift forge. He just...
I'm really bad at directions.
He just sits and he breathes fire onto a piece of metal and it glows red, and he just starts hammering away at it.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Zale.
Greetings, Zale.
And your name?
Zakar Baharush.
Zaka. I was told that you might be... I need something maybe slightly smaller than what you're used to making. How are you at detailed work, or is there someone else I should talk to?
Oh, I am the only one with any metal crafting experience.
Did you have before you came here?
I was apprenticed to it. I did not step up too far, but my time here has hardened my skills. Detail, I may not be able to do, but I will do my best.
Could you... Okay. What size metal pieces do you have to work with here? This doesn't have to be too detailed.
How much scrap have you brought me?
None, but I could, if you have any kind of, I just need something small. I need to focus for magic.
If you bring me scrap, I will make whatever it is you want.
Where would I find scrap?
But to imbue it with magic, to make it a focus, I cannot do. As for scrap, you can find it anywhere. In your weapon, I can scrap your weapon. If you find chunks of broken barrels, the bands around them, I can take them.
Where should I look?
If you are adventurous enough to leave Adella's Rest, wherever you can find them on the island. From what I can glean, is this island is either very well populated or was once well populated.
What was this place? What did this place used to be?
I don't know. I've only been here 5 years. When I came here, Adella's Rest was in less shape than it was now, but it was more or less this.
There's somebody who could. I don't want to bug the guard. I don't want to bug Fairmire. Is there any direction?
People are very friendly here. There's a sympathy that we all understand that we're trapped here together, and we understand. Should you search for somebody, I would go over to the slump. That is the public resting house. Head over to the slump where Bouvier Peril. She speaks to the most people.
Bouvier Peril sounds kind of dirty.
What's the last name? So there seem to be a lot of humans and elves and half-elves around. I haven't seen as many of the other races. I mean, it doesn't seem exclusive here, but are they around?
Certainly. The dwarves are usually out helping to work the fields. Most guards, as they are not on watch, they sleep in where the sheriff stays. Bouvier is a very different case. Bouvier is very unique in her trade.
My God, she's a prostitute.
But other Dragonborns, are you the only Dragonborn?
I am the only Dragonborn I have seen. If you don't have scrap, then there's little I can do for you.
Okay.
Even by Fairmire's word, I still require scrap to make what you need.
Great to take up your time. How freely do people seem to be moving around this area?
Everyone's moving with purpose, and you stand out in the fact that you're not moving with purpose.
Well, what if I move with purpose towards that house?
I'm purposely going over.
If I can see that it would be super weird for me to do that, I'm not going to do it.
It's super weird for you to do anything because you're not working.
Then screw it. I'm gonna go over here. All right, I'll see you there in a second. But I kind of want to see what this place is.
Okay.
I'm gonna go over to the south, the northwest.
Theo, you want to go over to the slump?
I want to slump it up.
I want to stealth my way over to the slump as well. Just kind of so it doesn't look like I was just hiding behind this building listening.
All right, so it's less stealth and more you want to look nonchalant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
Insight check the hell out
Go
of
ahead
that.
and roll a stealth check. And go ahead and roll an insight.
Yeah.
No. No, I completely believe you.
18.
3.
You think he's probably just peeing somewhere. Like he just finished peeing and, you know. Do you want to have any conversation before you get to the slump?
Hi. I look down as he's kind of smacking his leg.
Slapping his leg.
Sorry, my leg fell asleep.
I at this point, I'm just like, whatever. I've learned to live with it by now.
Go inside.
I kind of look over and just kind of pull my cloak in closer around me.
Why, are you afraid of molesters?
Yes, I'm afraid of you.
As he looks you in the eye and starts.
Exactly. I don't know what weird.
A bold intimidation.
I don't know what weird ass signs you're making. It's been a rough day.
Man.
It's a sign that your brain's working too fast for your hand to follow.
You open the door, and this is actually a fairly heavy door on hinges. It's a relatively small kind of foyer where there's a bench across that looks like it's just made out of scrapped wood, perhaps from an old ship. You see this gnome kind of pop up on top of this desk, and you see that just everywhere that was possible, on the walls, on the floor, on the desk, there's just flowers. Tons of flowers, bright colored.
Now, what is the gnome wearing?
Flowers. And when you look over to her, you see that she is wearing, from this distance, you see that it is clearly like a burlap. Just like the most common cloth that can be found and trudged from the ocean. But she's found a way to dye them green and pink. And she has this yellow hair that she's put up in like a beehive. And she looks to you and she says, "Well, howdy there. Welcome to the slum. You boys looking for a place to sleep?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Well, if it's your first time in, you get to stay tonight for free."
What does it cost normally?
"Well, if you're working, you get to spend every night for free. But if you're not, if you're passing through, if you're out there adventuring, trying to find some stuff, it's going to cost, per person, I'd probably say maybe about 7 value.
Alright. I remember that Theo's next to me, so I don't ask how much a good time is worth.
I'm like, I got there. Again, kid's not stupid. I got I'm just like, oh.
Ain't you the cutest little thing I ever did see? You don't see kids big like you anymore."
Thank you.
"Oh, you welcome, sweetie." And she kind of like reaches over and then she just like takes some flowers and she looks at you and she grabs like a green and a blue flower and she hands them to you and she says, "I think these would look nice in your hair."
I took the green one and hide mine.
She takes the blue and puts it in hers.
Gnome Bay.
"Well, it ain't time to sleep yet. So I'll make sure there's some room on the rope. And you just come back at sunset. You see everyone coming in here. Big old line. We'll light some torches.
No
and you come on in."
Prostitute. Okay.
So, what is your name?
"I am Bouvier."
Oh, very pretty name.
"Thank you. I had it my whole life."
I would hope
And
so.
Lady Bouvier, how long have you been here?
"Oh, I've been here 3 years. But as soon as I got here, they said, 'Oh, darling, you should run the slump.' And I said, 'Well, if I can doll it up a little bit, not something so drab and frightening.' And they said, 'Oh, that's fine. So will you bring me some flowers?' And they said, 'Oh, yes, Miss Bouvier.' And I said, 'Thank you very much. I
Now,
do appreciate it.'"
Do you prefer Miss Bouvier or do you prefer Lady Bouvier?
"Lady Bouvier. Wow, I take Lady Bouvier. How regal."
I'm a charming little bastard.
Accidental charm.
No, I know full well what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
I've played this game before.
Oh. So, Lady Bouvier, is this what you do here? You run the slumps? What all does that entail?
Well, I make sure the ropes are clean. I make sure everyone comes in there accounted for and they got a space. I make sure everyone wakes up by dawn. And I make sure everyone signs in. Other things. If you need something, I try to get it for you.
And now, do most people come and stay at the slump when they're here?
Well, majority of people, yeah. That's where most people stay.
All 500 of them.
Roughly about... What did my book say most recently? About 425 stay here.
So if we want to meet the rest of the town, we'd come here.
Just stay here tonight. You'll meet as many people as you want. They'll be cranky, though, because they work all day.
Sounds like you've got a lot on your hands. If you ever need any assistance.
I'm here to help as well.
I'll let you know. Find something to eat. Make some friends. It's tough here in Adella's Rest, but we make it our home.
Okay, I'm going to pull Eddie aside for a minute.
Alright. Are we still in the house? Or
the moment we get somewhere where it's not surrounded by people.
Yeah, you can go outside.
Okay.
Look, when I wanted to be alone with him, it wasn't a slight against you guys. I'm just saying I wanted it to seem like we're as isolated from each other as possible. It seems like it would be the best fit here.
Alright.
Okay.
So back over at the establishment that Zale has gone over to, that place that looks like it was formerly a place of worship. Zale, as you approach, it's unrecognizable. There's no carvings or anything you can find anywhere as you're walking up to it. It's like seeing an old enemy. There's just something you don't know why, but you don't like. You just don't like it.
Can I look inside?
When you look inside here, you see that there's a very wide open space that has a lot of high standing bar tables. Some of them are just kind of hammered into the wall. Some of them are standing on shaky legs. But this wide open space has very thin, narrow, maybe like 2 foot wide, half circle. These look like troughs. In full honesty, they look like troughs. You hear people kind of talking, yelling back and forth. You hear the crackle of fire, and there is this smell of cooking meats and vegetables on the air. You get the idea that this is the place where food is going to be served.
If Zale had to guess, what deity would she think had a presence here? I don't know.
Azrath.
Well, I know one of them. I don't know.
Yeah,
because Bitch Cat's got a lot of.
Yeah, she does.
She's got a lot of enemies.
Do I have what's my best guess as to who this might be? Because I don't know, but Zale would know.
Now that you're a little bit closer, roll me another religion check. 11. Trying to get the best look inside of this place. Nothing here rings familiar to you. It's like someone built a church because they like the way churches are built. That's the feeling you get from it. It's so unidentifiable to you. It's almost like a culture you've never seen. Okay, do you want to go further in?
I'll just go right up to wherever people are making food.
You hear people moving around. That smell is more intense. And as you kind of like peer through some of this wood, you see there's a large cauldron bubbling. You see there is a fireplace with a piece of metal that they're cooking meats on. And then you see they kind of chop it up and they throw it into the cauldron. Looks like a large stew is being cooked. And you see that there are what does look more like halflings. Very quickly, maybe about 4 or 5 of them quickly just kind of like squirreling around, moving around each other in this very small space, very nimbly, very focused, very quickly.
I'll be honest, this isn't really what I was looking for, but I can serve food just fine.
One of the halflings looks up and says, "You want to help? Go around, tell people that dinner served at sundown today."
Yeah, then I'll tell it to anybody that's in the room, and then I'll just start circling around.
You just told the people who told you to tell it to them?
No, to the people who are waiting to eat in the other part of the room. I'm not going to tell it to the people who are cooking.
No.
Okay.
I'll peek. I don't think there's going to be anyone over in the graveyard. But I'll wander through there just in case.
Whisper to the dead bodies.
Well, no, but like I don't know if somebody their grave's there for some reason. Do I feel anything when I go in the graveyard?
No.
And I'm going to kind of work my way around the town so that the last place I end up is over at the slump so I can talk to Bouvier.
So you go over to Madame Bouvier's?
Eventually, yeah. I'm gonna kind of work my way over there.
Addie and Theo?
I'm going back inside for a second because I need to ask Madame Bouvier a question.
Of course.
Now we're calling her Madam. We just give her
All of the honorifics.
Lady Madame, Your Majesty Bouvier.
The third.
Esquire.
Dr. Professor Madame Bouvier.
I'm gonna have my students call me Dr. Professor.
Seems like so you know my background.
Yes.
You know I grew up in a town that was pretty shitty like this.
Yes.
I would know where to go, right? To thrive like I do.
Yeah, you would. You're generally waiting for a good group of people to get around. Them being spread out and constantly working like this, you don't really find any, like, seeing these people now, there's really nothing you can do. Stopping them is probably not the best idea. They're not going to take kindly. But once they've kind of gathered in a place is kind of when you can start working. What did you want to talk to Lady Bouvier?
Are you inside again?
Yes?
Madam, can I ask you one final question?
What's lady now?
I do apologize, my lady.
Forgiven.
Do you know anywhere in this city where I would be able to procure some sort of stationery?
Oh, my. Oh, that's...
Even just a scrap piece of paper.
That's a tall order, child. No. All this, any stationery, any scrolls, any parchment, Fairmire would take. He's been trying to send Mrs. Letters back over to the castle. He kind of like waves you in close.
The castle?
Oh, yes. He's been trying to contact them, asking them for help.
With what?
Food, fresh water, protection. Just about anything. We have nothing pretty much here.
But isn't the castle responsible for us being here in the first place?
Well, I agree. But they keep us here. But if they have the means to help us...
They should be. It's humane. Yes.
Well, that's kind of the decisive thing here in town. You see, some people are calling for Sheriff Meyer to step down.
Because he's too close to the castle?
Mostly because he wants the castle to come back and help us out. As you imagine, a lot of people have bad feelings towards the castle.
Understandable.
And they don't really want them to come back. They want them to stay out of our business. Because if they come here, they'll just start taking more people, we bet. But he seems to think the only way we can survive is by asking them for help.
And where do they take these people? I haven't heard any of this before.
Well, they take them. They take them, you know. Now, you don't know. No, they take them. Rare they come back. Now.
And if they do?
Well, they never come back right. Now, if, I doubt Fairmire will give you any. He keeps it to himself. But there is a dwarf. He's one of the stone cutters who goes out, helps move some of the rocks out of the fields.
Mm-hmm.
He's been pushing to be the new sheriff. His name is Hilo Hilltop. He's fairly new. He's been here about 3 years. He's pushing to get that position back. He seems to think that the castle has abandoned us, which it has, and that we should shore up defenses, fight back against the prison raiders, which scares me because those boys are bad.
How many prison raiders do you normally see? Well,
they don't come often, but when they do, it's usually at night, and they come once a month, and they take what we give them for their sending back to the castle. They don't like to send theirs, so we send some for them, which Hollow would stop. But they come at night. They usually kill a couple folks just to keep us scared, rob a few things, set a fire or two. They take their people, and
do they wander around with a cage?
That's usually, I'd imagine they'd have the cages. They like to grab people off the road and such. So I imagine they probably have a couple cages.
And can I ask you one final question?
Of course, darling. You ask me questions all day. You so cute.
If you had to choose between Teclin and Hilo, Who would you prefer?
Oh, that's too big for me. I'm so busy with this. I don't have time to worry about these things.
I only ask because it's obvious that you hold a position of esteem within this community, and your word would carry a lot of weight.
Little old me? No.
Look at what they put you in charge of.
No,
The dwellings for the entire community.
They just like me because I smell good.
They like you because you obviously carry an air of dignity about you.
Okay. Oh. Perhaps I should pay better attention then. Who do you think I should vote for?
Is it an election?
We get to choose.
I think at the end of the day, you follow your heart, and it will lead you to the path that you want.
She grabs your cheek and just kind of pinches it. You are too cute for this world.
Thank you.
She just kind of like grabs the back of your head and holds it to her chest. And she just kind of hugs you. Just closes her eyes. Eddie, you creeping on this one too?
I didn't go anywhere, so...
Just looking through the door. So we'll say here is about where you cross by Zale, who is calling out that dinner is at sundown.
Dinner's at sundown, huh?
Yep.
Alright.
We'll say the two of you are just kind of approaching the blacksmiths together.
Going in to see him?
Mm-hmm.
As the two of you walk in, you see the red dragonborn, and he turns and he says, even more new faces. What can I help you gentlemen with?
You got a shovel?
No. I do not.
I was told to dig graves, but I don't know what to do with.
If you were to dig graves, you would start in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they've already taken the shovels out to dig up some rocks that they have found. They're hoping something is better underneath, but they're using them all right now to excavate the rocks.
Huh.
I'm sure tomorrow grave duties will resume.
You don't happen to have any weapons here, do you?
I can forge you some weapons.
Really?
Yes, I just require that you bring me scrap to melt down to make new weapons.
Alright, I'll keep an eye out. You can't do anything with bone, can you?
Yes, I can. What is it you need?
Oh, I'm gonna show him my little dilapidated claw leg bone.
My, that is a mighty piece. That's a mighty weapon you have found there. Is that the leg of some sort of large bird?
Yeah, it's a griffin.
A griffin. Oh, one of the griffins.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, terrible beasts! They've been plaguing these lands. We have to send our hunters out in too large a group, almost to hunt, in defense of themselves. There is supposed what our hunters have told us is that there is a nest of them somewhere in the mountains.
Really?
A group, fair size. There's supposedly something bigger up there, perhaps the mama griffin. But the smaller ones are hunting the terrain around.
Well, I happen to be really good at killing griffins, so...
Well, you should probably go back and speak to Fairmeyers. I'm sure you've spoken to him before. There are jobs that he will give people who are willing to adventure outside of the city.
Alright.
It's work that we need done, and plenty of value would be assigned to you should you do them.
Alright.
As I spoke to a woman earlier that I told her that she too needed scrap, and I will just cut you off at the pass here, respectively. That scrap can be found not here, outside. The raiders abandon homes, kill someone and take their weapons. Bring them to me. I will melt them down. I shall make something better. To fortify your weapons, that I will need something. I will need a little bit of scrap to fortify them, or you will just be working with bone until it breaks.
That's fair. Been very informative, thank you.
Oh, you're fairly well. What was your name?
Arn.
Arn. Very nice to meet you, Arn. You, young man, what is it you need?
I look at him for a moment. I'm like, if I bring you scrap,
Yes.
and I give you a sketch, or I show you a sketch of, like, I'm looking at the dirt, could you follow it and make the symbol?
Perhaps. I do not do well with fine, small details. I did not advance so far in my education. I've been mostly making farming tools and weapons here. But I will do my best for you.
I do bend down into the dirt and roughly sketch out what looks like a fox on its hind legs.
As you do that, he's looking and he's taking one of his claws and he's carving it into his forge.
And you make that.
Bring me scrap and I shall try. No promises. Your calls are being heeded and people are starting to move towards this area. A heavier guard presence is starting to take place in the town. They're kind of scattered a little bit more by all the living quarters. You see that these tents empty out, and they go up to this church-like estate. Where do you guys want to go?
You said eat the food.
And I'm gonna go to the church like a state.
Okay.
Same.
All right. So the three of you begin to travel up. That group of people begins to form a neat line. There's very little argument, but it begins to funnel in very slowly. And when you go in, the floors begin to creak a little bit. There are still wood floors on the ground, so it's not just dirt. And these standing troughs. People just stand around them and they just begin to chat, talk. Just, how was your day? What has happened? Did you see anything out there? It's odd. It's odd we didn't see. We weren't harried by the griffin at all today.
They're swinging his leg around.
This griffin.
Just casually scratching your back.
Yeah.
So while you're all in there, you have pretty much a good portion of the town that you can speak to.
While she's looking around for other races, I want to specifically look for parents with small children.
Roll a perception check.
What's with the mitt?
Don't question. That's not one.
He finds a child and he goes, does this smell like chloroform?
It's a child that's 6 foot tall, half orc. I'm not a kid.
Oh, it's Talos.
He says as his voice cracks.
I'm not a kid.
So as you walk around, you hear children.
Somewhere.
You hear children. They're running around, man. Like, you can find people with kids. But these kids, they haven't seen their parents all day. Mm-hmm. And they're just excited. They're excited that they see each other. They're running around.
They separate the kids from their parents to work separately?
The parents are working.
And the kids are too.
Do I know that you're looking for kids? Are you making this obvious, or...
I just rolled a nat 1. I don't know.
Hey, are there any kids?
Unless you ask for their help, they're off doing other things. So you're kind of isolated. You're alone in a crowded room right now looking for this. You can't grab any of the parents. You can't grab anyone's attention. They are just barreling around this place. It's like a freaking Chuck E. Cheese in here right now.
The worst thing ever.
Yeah.
If you want kids, just wait 9 months for Boovie.
I don't want kids.
That's not what you said 2 seconds ago.
Wait, is Bouvier in here with us?
No. No, Bouvier, unfortunately, she does not come to these meals. Someone is usually kind enough to bring her some.
No, I actually know what I want to do.
What?
I do go to the first, moderate,
Okay.
Introduce myself. Hi.
Okay.
Theo, I'm new here.
Okay, the guy reaches over and he says, Nathan, very human, roll a history check.
But this is not a bad roll. 12.
He actually looks like one of the guys from the boat you were originally on. In passing, you recognize him. You've never spoke to him. Mm-hmm. The time you spent in your cabin kind of preparing for this journey, when you'd kind of left to get yourself food or to observe the sunset, he just was in the background.
Have we met? Perhaps on a boat?
Probably, maybe.
Were you on a boat coming out of Snowgate?
Yes.
I do pull him quickly to the side.
Do you have word of the rest of the crew?
No, but I do believe you would have heard about me.
Oh, you were that spoiled kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I hear this?
No, you're doing something else. This must extra suck for you.
Yeah. What the hell happened?
Well, it's what it was like a week or two into the journey, there was a ship showing the Wylanthier flag, and a storm was starting to get pretty choppy, and we just kind of hailed them just for some flag signals about what they knew of the weather was coming up, whether we should turn back or what we should do, and they hailed us to come closer and closer and closer. And when an elven naval ship does that, you obey.
Yeah.
So we sailed as close as we could, and when we were with just not too far from it, they fired on us. Sent a couple rounds past us. One barreled into the ship,
and we got captured.
Yep. The last thing I remember seeing is as they were boarding on and just cutting down anyone who picked up anything or was holding anything. When they came on, is they just dropped that flag to something that looked like waves and a shark fin.
A history check, waves and a shark fin.
Give it a roll.
11.
As you had been traveling, you've overheard talk of a very violent upcoming gang called the Boiling Sea Gang. Mm-hmm. That was on the farthest west near the Boiling Sea. They've been harrying ships in the past between Wylanthier, the elven capital, and Yondir, the island off its shores.
And they sold prisoners to this island?
As far as I know.
Did you have... what of the captain?
I bet he's gone. I don't know.
Okay, look, I'm sorry for what you went through. And I'm sorry that we were both involved in it.
Same.
I'm gonna come and find you in a couple days. I have the beginnings of an idea.
Oh, that scares me.
It shouldn't.
But...
Look, I do lower my voice. Yeah. They didn't tell you much, but since we're both in the same boat, I'm going to be honest with you. My name is Theodoric Percival Conroy. My older brother Roderick is Lord of Snowgate. If I can get a message to him, we can get out and I can get you a better life.
Please do.
Any kind of scrap metal you can find, let me know.
I'll be over at the slump. I assume you'll be there too.
Yeah.
It's going to be a change for you.
I'm used to the change now. I've been wandering the...
Oh, you haven't been to the slump yet. Madame Bouvier is sweet, but she's a flower growing out of a pile of shit.
That's fair enough. I'll keep my head up. Anything you can do, let me know.
Okay. All right, Addie.
Well, since you said I'm busy doing other things, are there any pretty faces in here?
Are there pretty faces? Roll me a perception check.
Hey man, Maz's hug was pretty to me, so I got some pretty low standards.
You'll need them. There are quite a few attractive women, at least.
Some of that women folk.
Hey man, anyone's a 10 from behind.
But...
Oh my god.
Negative inspiration.
I already have a negative.
Double negative inspiration. As you kind of go walking up to them, you know they're everyone's dirty to an extent. As you go walking up to like any of them, they just always weirdly seem to reach down and grab up like a child or two, and these kids are twice as filthy. And they always reach over into this trough that just grabs a handful of just what looks like some sort of meat and potato, just shoves it in their mouth.
Found your kids.
The visual aesthetic of beauty is immediately dropped when they pick up these snot-nosed, crap-covered kids and just shove a handful of gruel in their face.
It's very primal.
It is, and as you look at it, for the first time in days... This makes you feel dirty.
Kind of dirty.
Like, you're gonna go bathe in mud. Dirty.
Like, way to make that the most descriptive thing I have ever heard.
Yeah.
That is not the most descriptive thing I've ever heard, and I'm actually glad for it.
Roll me an investigation.
Okay.
People want to know where this goes.
15.
As you're kind of walking around a little bit more, you're kind of eating where you see like an open place. You kind of jump and grab a little bit of a mouthful and then move along. You see that one of these troughs is a bit more full than the others. More people have gathered around. And as you kind of like look around it, the trough is empty. Like people have cleared a path in it. And they seem to be kind of muttering, and they're kind of passing things back and forth, and they're talking.
Kind of creeping.
You hear people roughly speaking. No, I found this one today. This one is gonna be the one. I pulled it right out of the ground, and I guarantee you today it wins. And other people are like, we've been working on this one in the river for weeks. This thing is gonna fly away. And it seems like they're discussing and then looking to bet.
I picked that up, yeah. Hey, what's the bet on?
Everyone just kind of like stops. You see them, whatever's in their hand, they cover it, and then they cover their fist with it. And they look over to you and go, I don't recognize you.
That's because I'm new. What are we betting on?
Oh, betting man. And they kind of look at each other and like they open up, like 3 men deep. They all open up so you could walk up to this trough. When you walk in, they just kind of close in around you and you feel yourself squeezed together in this tight pack. 2 men on each side put their fists in front of you. When they open them, there are a rock in each hand. Ultimately, one looks like a D20.
Okay.
It's round, but it has jagged points on each end. And someone else brings one up that kind of looks elongated, but still round. They're stones. And they say, what we do is we find these in the field, and we drop them down one end of the trough. We count how many times they rock back and forth. If it goes out, it's disqualified. Most rocks wins. We bet on to see whose rock goes the longest.
Alright. So, who plays?
What do you got to bet?
I can't just observe?
No.
No?
Not for a new guy. Bet a round or 2, and maybe we'll watch you play next time.
I'm going to show them the beak that I tell them that it's from a griffin.
There's just an, ooh. You're gonna bet that?
That's all I got.
Just kind of like look back and forth, and
So, you know,
they're
I
trying.
feel like the other bets should be even better. Right?
Yeah, they're trying to pull their stuff together.
Up the ante.
They're kind of discussing back and forth, and what they have that they're willing to offer is we have a rusted shield, we have a couple books, we have a flask. That's what we think that's worth.
All right. I'll happily take this bet.
33 value.
I just want to ask you: is there any way I can kind of insight this? You know, I've done gambling for a living. Is there any way I can kind of figure out which horse to back here?
They'll let you pick from their rocks.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
That's why I'm trying to figure out which one to bet on.
Go ahead and roll me an insight.
I just have no wisdom to back it up, but I do have proficiency.
Holy shit.
Did you?
21.
You get the idea that the elongated one, the thinner roller one, will do best if it is rolled separate from the other one.
Okay. Do I know if they roll them separately or if they roll them together?
You don't.
Okay. So I'm going to ask. I'm going to say, so do you guys just throw them in at the same time, or?
We do opposite ends and let them roll against each other.
All right. I'm going to put my bets on the D20 looking one then.
Okay.
I figure it was going to come down to chance anyway.
That actually evens us out. This is just going to be a flat roll.
Okay.
You versus the other guy.
Oh, am I rolling?
Yes.
Okay.
You could probably put a little bit of English on it with sleight of hand.
Okay.
With that natural 20, that's you absolutely get that. Open roll. Ready?
Oh, I didn't even see Dan's roll.
And I got +4.
Exactly, you got max.
I've got 27, and you got 1. Alright, that's enough. Oh my god, man. I have
You
7.
drop yours from one end, they drop theirs from another, and yours just goes down next to it and just ticks over, rams the other, knocking it off, and yours rolls up one side and then just comes down, one up, one down, and the other one rolls off. And they just look at each other, and no one says anything.
Beginner's luck, huh?
Yeah, I guess. So you walk around a little bit more, and you do find that there is a group of cooks. kind of work your way to the back of this area once again, and you find that they're kind of sitting around eating now. Of these cooks, there was the guy that yelled at you earlier. You kind of get a chance to talk to him now. He is this ground up looking motherfucker. Red hair, buck teeth. You see he's kind of working this grinder, but he's missing a couple fingers. It kind of makes you wonder what really went into the grinder that day, or what continues to go into this grinder this day.
Tell me the fingers are dripping.
No, they look healed over. His left hand is he's just basically got like a pinky and a thumb. And
it implies there was one unfortunate meal at least.
There was 1 to 3 unfortunate meals. He looks at you and he goes, "You looking to cook?"
Yeah.
If you're looking to cook, you can start with dishes.
Dishes.
Points into the back where there's a cauldron that you had seen was previously being filled with food, is emptied now. And from the river nearby, they're pouring buckets of water into it, and a fire's beginning to heat up. He walks over, he steps up a ladder, and he just looks at you, and he drops it in. Let it soak. You are going to end the workday doing dishes. You are going to end the workday
doing what I do.
Showing everyone why I hate your character. By the end of the workday, everyone is eating. The place begins to empty out, and everyone starts kind of heading back. You see Addie kind of walking out, talking with some guys. God, is he smug. You don't see Zale walking out. You see that she's found something else to occupy her time. But as you're kind of walking out towards where the slump is, where Lady Bouvier is, you see that a little boy is just kind of run off near where the creek is, puts his hands on the dirt, and grabs something and starts running back towards the mom. Mm-hmm. And as he does, you see light begin to pour out from between his fingers.
Can I get the description of this kid?
When you see the boy look over and he kind of opens his hand, and you see that light shine across his face, and he and his skin are blue, and his hair is white. Roll an Arcana.
One time for me not to fuck up roll tonight.
Man.
Boom!
Natural 20.
Hey, it's about time.
And only in stories and texts have you ever learned the Azamar.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Peril Party, another 5th edition podcast. Today you heard Megan as Zale, Katie as Addie, and Connor as Theodoric. I'd like to thank the talented artists over at AmbientMixer.com for lending us their work. Check the descriptions for details. And a special thanks to Megan for making our amazing themes. Check out the rest of our wonderful work here on the Quips and Crits Network.